Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Now, this is kind of an interesting... Okay, first of all, last week, I was gone most of the week. You saw videos go up throughout the week because I had recorded those ahead of time because I knew I was going to be gone at first because I was going to the NAB conference in Las Vegas, and so that way, because we're trying to make our show better, find better equipment, better lighting, all kinds of things, and we have some ideas. But my mother also died, so I went out to her funeral and was gone for much of the week. I got many emails from you guys, and if I didn't respond to your emails, I apologize. I tried to respond to as many as I could. I got cards, so it's very, very nice of you guys to do that. I also, we put it not on the Dice Tower channel, but on my personal channel, we put it up live, and some of you watched the funeral, and I appreciate that also. However, there is a lot going on here at the Dice Tower, and so I recorded Board Game Breakfast in Nebraska, which is where my mom died, and at Carhenge. But I've had to re-record some of the things just because some things have changed since when I recorded it. But if you see the background, that's a... Look it up, Carhenge. It's a very interesting site. It's like anyway, there's not a lot in Nebraska, but it's one of the things there. Anyhow, let's get started here with the news. Okay, so what happened in the news this week? Hasbro has announced a gaming crate. So you get this crate 4 times a year. It's $50 per crate. I'm not actually sure what's exactly in each crate. There's a party crate or a family crate. Although from what I can tell, they're both party crates, but the one is going to be more towards edgy games, the party crate, I guess. And they're all new games. This isn't new. This isn't, you're getting Candyland all over again. Is it going to be worth it? I don't know. The gaming crates that I've seen from other companies so far have been kind of meh at best. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. But meanwhile, Hasbro also released their numbers for last year. $1.39 billion from their board game department. They had over 5 million they made total. So that's kind of intriguing to see how the board gaming there continues to grow. Modiphius has announced a Fallout game. Based on the very popular thing, a Wargaming in the Wasteland. You can pre-order it this summer. I'm not sure exactly when it's coming out. It's a miniature game with a very strong storyline, they said. Ted Alspach from Bezier Games is releasing a new expansion for Ultimate Werewolf Hunting Party. New roles. These roles sound pretty cool. My only wonder here is there's 6 new roles, so this is like a mini pack thing for $10. So it's kind of like in the promo card pricing. Jen Birch and Zach Ansel won the North American Scrabble Champions. $10,000 or the Student Scrabble Championship, so congratulations to them with words like Eugenia and Steeping. Fantasy Flight Games is reprinting Bloodbound, and they're reworking it, revamping it, making it look better. The original one just had really bad graphics. It just looks so cheesy. This one looks better. Still looks a little cheesy, but I think this one will go over better. It's a fun party-style deduction game. Wizards of the Coast and Catalyst are working together to make a deck-building game based on, well, it's based on the Shadowrun Crossfire game, so it's like a cooperative deck building game, but it's based on the Dungeons & Dragons universe, so Dragonfire it's called. I'm pretty excited about this. I thought that the Crossfire game was a very good, solid one. It had a way of leveling up and building up, and set in a D&D universe will be pretty neat. Discovery has 2 Sailor Moon games coming. I don't know if these will be good or not. The Crystal Dice Challenge and Truth or Bluff, so if you're a Sailor Moon fan, I'm sure you're thrilled about that. Ultra Pro has announced that they have Valerian, the Alpha Missions cooperative game. This is based on the Valerian, the City of a Thousand Stars movie, which looked pretty fun, actually. Hopefully it's a good movie. This is designed by Ryan Miller. They said like one of the most famous designers in the world. And I thought, huh? But he has designed several games. So I'm hoping this one's really good. It at least has a fun theme. Z-Man Game has announced Valletta. This is a game in which you are creating a great Mediterranean city, which is like the ultimate Tom Vassell hates tagline. But the game itself does look pretty good. It's a deck building game from Stefan Dora. Now, he makes some pretty good games, so I'm excited to see where that one goes. The Mensa Awards were announced. These are awards awarded to games from the Mensa group that do this every year. And, you know, each year they get better and better. This year, they've Imagine from Gamewright, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle from USAopoly, Clank from Renegade Games, Around the World in 80 Days, which is kind of funny because that's kind of a revamping of Hare and Tortoise from Yellow, which came out in like 77, I think. But hey, you know, they're recognizing it now, only 30 years later. And Amalgam, Simply Fun, a game about mixing ingredients. That's the only one of the 5 I have not played. And I was like, huh, I didn't know Simply Fun was still around. So that's good. Simply Fun, if you've never heard of them, they're basically kind of like a Tupperware of board games. All right, and then Games Workshop has announced the 8th edition of Warhammer 40,000. You're going to be able to keep all the same models that you have now, but you will have to get new codices. The rules are going to be free, so that's interesting. There's already an FAQ up about it, and they seem to be trying to have more communication with the fans about it. So we'll see. It's interesting. 8th edition, that's a lot of editions of one game. All right, let's get to the fundraising news.
Happy breakfast, everybody, and happy May Day. We've got projects that run from light and lucky to heavy and economic, so let's get going. Dungeon Dice is back with a new expansion, The Lost King. Dungeon Dice is a light dice game in which everything is represented by dice, from the monsters to the equipment to the spells and beyond. Players draw monsters and fight them in a roll-off using their dice and hope for lots of hits or special ability sides. Dungeon Dice has a number of expansions out already, adding different types of monsters and abilities, but The Lost King adds Dungeon Dice that serve as a location with unique mechanisms and challenges. There are new traps and shrines, and lots of new one-use dice, including torches and wands. And there are relics that grant a permanent passive bonus. As players gain experience, they gain new dice, all working towards the win. Without a doubt, some of Dungeon Dice's appeal lies in the huge variety of custom dice, and you can get a copy of the Lost King expansion for a pledge of $35, or check out the other levels to get the base game and other expansions. Dead Man's Doubloons is a quick game of pirate programming. You take on the role of a pirate captain, and the game plays out in phases as you look for map pieces, then start the hunt for treasure on an island, and finally move back to sea for a knockdown brawl. All of this is done using simple programming with cards that let you move, change direction, repair your ship, fire, and board. As you explore the island, the shorter path to the goal is filled with more difficult challenges, and as you lose crew members, you're going to lose abilities along with that. But even if you get sunk, you still have a chance to win because you turn into a ghost ship and can come back from the dead. And that ghost ship looks super cool because it's made out of translucent acrylic. Dead Man's Doubloons is from the same publisher of Tao Long that I covered a few months ago. That project looks to be on track, but it hasn't fulfilled yet. And like that project, Dead Man's Doubloons production quality looks stellar. You can get a copy of Dead Man's Doubloons for a pledge of €39 plus shipping, or pick up the deluxe edition for $59 plus shipping, which includes metal coins and acrylic gems. Tesla vs. Edison Duel from Ardhana pits Tesla vs. Edison again in a two-player battle heavily inspired by the big box, big sibling game Tesla vs. Edison. You can play as Tesla, Edison, or pick from other inventors, each of whom have a unique instant win condition, and then you vie to build the grandest energy empire. With some area control, you'll compete for control of 3 different US regions while expanding your corporations. You can develop new tech, build electric projects, play the stock market by investing in smaller energy companies, or pour effort into the AC/DC current battle. You can also hire notable assistants who have actions that help you do things like acquire stock or conduct propaganda. You can get a copy of Tesla vs. Edison Duel for a pledge of $24 plus shipping. Chariots of Rome is a chariot racing game coming from Victory Point Games. Players move by initiative and choose their speed, attacks, and other moves. There's a lot of resource management in the game as you work to keep your horse's endurance up and be careful about gaining too much rattle that will throw you off your chariot. You can block lanes, ram chariots, and take other risky moves. But there's a push your luck element there because the riskier rewarding moves require that you draw penalty cards. And on top of this, there are 12 charioteer cards to choose from that give special player abilities. And then there are fate cards that are mostly good that will change up the race midstream. Chariots of Rome is designed for 2 to 8 players and espouses to be lighter and faster than many of these huge chariot racing games that you may be familiar with. But it also includes all the racing intensity of those. You can get a copy of Chariots of Rome for a pledge of $39 plus shipping. One Deck Dungeon, Forest of Shadows is a standalone expansion for One Deck Dungeon. This is a card and dice-based dungeon delve that has you opening doors, facing down traps and monsters, and building up your character for a boss fight. It features one of my favorite mechanisms, the multi-use card, because after you face down a foe, you can use it for experience, skills, or equipment, and those decisions are tough and impactful. Forest of Shadows adds new hero archetypes, dungeons, and other cards to the mix and is fully compatible with the original game. Forest of Shadows also offers some new mechanisms like poison that can take your heroes out if too much is taken, and it adds even more tension to the card use decisions. There are dungeons that will result in lost dice, upping the difficulty level, and you can get pets to aid you in your quest, just like this panther. Asmati offers a standard game, but it also offers a version made of sturdy plastic cards. You can get One Deck Dungeon Forest of Shadows for a pledge of $20 or with plastic cards for $40. And last but not least, Brass is a classic economic game from design maestro Martin Wallace. Well, Roxley Games is bringing us an updated version of the original game as well as a brand new sequel. Brass Lancashire completely updates the visuals of the board and components of Brass, but it keeps all the mechanisms around developing a cotton empire. You'll be working to build highly productive factories powered by steam, securing mines and ironworks to help power those factories, and develop canals and trade routes to increase your demand. Brass is weighty and it features a much lauded turn order system. Brass Birmingham takes the story of Brass even further, and while it keeps the same core rules, the sequel does add a new map, new mechanisms and industries, and fresh strategies to explore. You can get either Lancashire or Birmingham for $79 Canadian each plus shipping, or you can get both games for a pledge of $132 Canadian. Okay, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here, and I am not too proud to admit that I do not contradict myself. Well, that's not entirely true. I mean, I used to think it was, but now, honestly, I don't know. And that is something that I'm sure of. You see, my path of confusion and inner conflict and turmoil, well, it all started last week when I stumbled upon an announcement for a brand new vampire-themed social deduction game, Bloodbound. Now, social deduction games, they're alright, but I've never really been interested in vampire-themed anything. But there was something about Bloodbound that captured my attention at the very first glance. And so I let myself become interested, if not enamored, with this game, and decided to start doing some research on it. And only then did I discover that Bloodbound is not a new game at all, having been originally released in 2013. Oh, and there's more, because once I laid eyes on the original version of the game, I realized that I was, in fact, familiar with this game, and I had previously decided that it was a game that I was not interested in. Not tempted to play it in the least. At all. The only difference between the two versions of the game is that the artwork on the new version of it looks like this, while the art on the 2013 version looks like this. The game was previously populated with photos of real people in cosplay costumes and makeup. Nothing else about the two versions of this game is different. Not the name, not the theme, nor the mechanisms, the rule set, the artwork. No, the artwork is the thing that's different. I mean, and that's what concerns me. To allow myself to be swayed simply by a game's artwork. I mean, is it possible that I am even more superficial than I think I am? That is not the question that I want you to answer this time around. Instead, I'm just curious to know if you have ever had a similar experience. Has a game's artwork ever been the factor that has prevented you from getting to know a game? Or, on the other side, has it caused you to hang on to a game that you otherwise did not like? Well, in the comments below, paint me a picture of what draws you to a game and why.
Hi, welcome to Miniature World. Last week we looked at Shadows of Armageddon, but the main thing that we really want to talk about is Games Workshop this week. They've been doing a lot of things and kind of trying to get back to the old days when they were at the height of their powers. They announced just in the past couple of weeks that they are redoing 40K. So now it's going to be the 8th edition. Now, one of the big things that everybody's talking about is that it's going to be a simpler system. Something that I'm really looking forward to, and the fact that it's going to bring new people in. If you can simplify it. A lot of times what happens is these games get out of control, they get unbalanced, and then they've got to reboot it. And here we are on the 8th edition. We're hoping that this is the one edition that's really going to do it and suck those people that have walked away for so long back into the game. It's has so much history and so much to it that it is really a wonderful, wonderful universe. The thing is it has to have the game with it. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at this. We're going to be breaking it down. We're going to be talking about some of the armies that you can put together and some of the things that you can look at. And when the rules come out, we are going to go over them in full length and to make it easier for you to make a decision if this is going to be a game for you. Well, that's it for this week's Miniature World. Until next time, I'm Rob Orrin, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week.
All right, so what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Here's the answer, folks. I don't know. I know that I'll be doing, some best ofs from the companies, and I know I have a Why I Love coming through, but because there's a very high probability that we're moving this week, I'm just not sure what else is coming from the Dice Tower. We will try to get up as many videos as we can, but I would expect a small decrease just because we are moving. So I apologize again about that. And we'll do our best to get everything done and settled and in as fast as we can, because there's just a lot of great things to talk about. I have some really cool things I want to show you guys. And so, again, just thank you for sticking with us. And hopefully after May, we'll be on a little bit more of or hopefully starting in, is it May? It's May. I'm confused. But hopefully after the first week of May, we'll be on a straighter path. We got conventions coming up in the future, so there's more of that. But anyway, the podcast, though, Eric Summer and Richard Ham, Rado, were able to do the podcast, so that's going to come out Tuesday. I appreciate them stepping up and helping out with that. We got more of those coming. You can find all that information at DicetowerNetwork.com.
Hey everyone, it's
Lunchtime! Today we're bringing you a game called Control. This game was designed by Mattox Schuler, published by Keymaster Games, ages 14 and up, plays 2 to 4 players in about 5 to 15 minutes.
In Control, the goal is to be the first player to get 21 or more points on your tableau. Each player will be dealt a hand of 5 cards to begin with, and you have 4 actions you can choose from on your turn. You can draw a new card to your hand from the deck. You can install a fuel cell, which is playing it out on your tableau. You can burn a fuel cell, which is to discard it, and you can defuse this fuel cell. So those are the actions you can take. Now, there are silver fuel cell cards, which the text on the card activates when they're installed, so placed out on your tableau. And there are bronze fuel cell cards, which text is activated when you burn the fuel cell and put it in the discard pile. And the number values in the cards are added up, and as soon as one player gets to 21 points, they automatically win.
I like the fact that it's 21. Then I know, it's like blackjack.
21.
So
Unlike blackjack, though, you can go over 21. It's not 21 or bust. It's just 21 or higher is a win.
And I also like the fact, I know we'll probably pop a picture of this, but you can see, you can't see it from here. I like the fact that the cards like kind of color coordinated with the types of cards that you were playing. So if you're playing a card, and they tell you exactly what that card does based on the color. So I thought that was really neat. For someone like me, I have a terrible memory, so cues like that are quite helpful.
There's only about 13 different types of cards. Anyway, not that many varieties of cards, and the text is self-explanatory, so not too hard to follow. So it's a fairly simple light game. I've really enjoyed our plays of this.
I like the whole, like if you read the little story before this, is the whole, you're going through like this time loop, time warp. You're trying to leave everyone else behind, so you're supposed to be the one to get like the first your fuel cell amount, so you can get out of there, and everyone else is stuck in the time warp without you. It's great.
Exciting.
Very exciting. It's a take that game.
Exactly, it makes it exciting. And it's quick, so like these rounds I find go pretty quickly, and then love these little tokens, nice and heavy.
Yes.
Makes me feel rich, even though I'm not, so it's just a little pretense. So I think that's it. We all enjoyed it?
Oh, yes.
All right, looking forward to playing again, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Hi, this is Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and this segment is called What Should I Get?, where we go on Reddit and we basically look at the mega thread What Should I Get?, and we suggest games for people. So let's go ahead and start. Siphon 911 is basically looking for a 1 to 2 hour solo or co-op game. Budget's not really much of a factor, and he kind of prefers this fantasy or sci-fi theme, with a ton of miniatures in them. So for this, I would suggest getting Mansions of Madness, Descent 2nd Edition with the app, and Mechs vs. Minions would also be another good one as well. Not Seinfeld basically wants a game that has the Yahtzee dice mechanic, but is obviously not Yahtzee. This is a really easy one. I would suggest King of Tokyo if you don't already have that. And also, if you have more players to play with, I would definitely suggest Bang the Dice game. I made a mistake is wondering about which game they should get for their girlfriend who really likes Concept. For this one, I would suggest Codenames, Mysterium, and also Dixit as well. They're great games. The only catch with those games I just suggested though is that only Mysterium is okay with 2 players. The guy 11 basically needs a game for him, his wife, and another couple coming over to play games. It needs to be roughly 30 to 60 minutes, and also they're the ones that suggested playing the games too, so they might be slight gamers, you never know. For this situation, I would definitely get the competitive nature out by suggesting Codenames, which that does in flying colors, and it's hilarious as well. Also, I would suggest Hanabi for a co-op game between you guys, and also I would suggest Monikers if you want to get really silly. Stenless wants a 3 to 5 player game that is roughly around the same complexity and competitiveness as Ticket to Ride. For this one, I would definitely suggest getting Splendor, Imhotep, and if you absolutely require 5 players, in Evolution the Beginning. Just note that Evolution the Beginning you can only buy in Targets. And that was another episode of What Should I Get? This is Gary Pope from Late to the Table, and hopefully if you like this video, you'll check me out on my YouTube channel as well, where we go through tips, tricks, and other suggestions as well. And hope you guys are enjoying your breakfast.
Hello everyone, my name's Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to introduce you to this game called Avenue. Now, Avenue has this really interesting mechanism known as route building. So let me show you a little bit of how it's applied to the game and why I really enjoy this system. On the map, you'll have different types of grapes along with different amounts. You'll have farmlands that are also labeled A through F, along with a pink castle and a green castle. Every round, you're going to go ahead and turn over a farm card, and that is the farm that you will score for this round. The goal of the game is to connect grapes to your farm that you're scoring for that round. At the beginning of the round, you'll turn over a road card, and it will show you the type of road you can draw on your map. It can go anywhere, but it cannot be rotated. In the deck, you'll also have either gray or yellow road cards. The round will end as soon as 4 yellow cards are drawn from the deck. You turn over the next farm card, and that's the next farm you'll score. After you played 5 out of 6 farm cards, then the game is over. You check your score and you add it up. So as you can see, the goal of the game in Avenue is to connect the grapes to the farms, and you have to steadily increase your score from round to round. The challenge is drawing your puzzly routes from round to round without knowing what type of card will come next, nor when the round will end. So there's always a challenging puzzle to figure out and solve by connecting these different lines all over the map. Another great thing about this game is that you can play it solo, and you can also play it with a huge group of people. It's easy to introduce, and it's a lot of fun trying to figure out the puzzle works of that route building system. Well, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, this is Mike with the Board Game Makeover. In this week's episode, I take a 2-player game, probably one of my most favorite 2-player games because my wife loves this game, and if she likes the game, I like the game. Anything I can do to get my family into board games is a winner in my house. I take one of the most popular 2-player games, Lost City, and I give it a theme. In this game, the cards are actually too big. Because a lot of times we want to play on the coffee table and they just want to go down too far. And the other issue with this game is the board. The colors. Being partial colorblind, this does not help. I'm sure there's some green colors in there, where's the white? Let me show you how I gave Lost Cities a board game makeover. This is Lost Cities, the way it's set up and being played on a table. As you can tell, it's not bad as far as some of the artwork, but the theme itself is basically all about colors and numbers. And some of these, like this is white, and they match white. But for some reason, it doesn't look very white to me. See, this is the problem with some games. They don't really appeal to colorblind people because they're hard to distinguish different colors. The theme I gave Lost Cities is transportation. The 5 categories I used are ships, planes, trains, automobiles, and other. You can be as creative as you want when it comes to any categories you put out here. In the other category, you can put anything that makes sense to you. This is Star Trek's The Transporter Room. And then we have blimps, hot air balloons, anything you can think of that's make it fun for you and your family and your friends. You can have Thomas the Tank Engine, the train. And some of the airplane ones I took right off of the YouTube videos that catch your eye and make you watch it, then you find out it has nothing to do with the picture. Ships are awesome because there's so many different types of ships you can put out here, including naval ships, cargo ships. So basically this is 9 pictures of each category, 5 categories, 45 pictures in all. That's 6 pages of printout and you're done. Probably one of the simplest projects I've ever done when it comes to a board game makeover. Lost Cities, one of my favorite 2-player games, but there's no theme. You can add a theme. Just print out your favorite 5 categories and just make sure the cards are distinct from one another, and you've got theme. And maybe your kids and family will play more because the theme is something that they can more relate to. Thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to the thrift store where 2 brothers with 5 whole dollars attempt to find the most interesting or strange board game from yesteryear and review it for you. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
Hey there, Dice Tower. This week our thrift store gold find was What the Food. What the Food is a game that simulates a food fight in a cafeteria where players are going to be targeting each other with food they pick up from the floor and throw it across at each other, trying to humiliate each other as much as possible. Because we all know in high school, the worst thing that could ever happen to you is to get humiliated in front of your friends. Let's see how it plays. So What the Food is going to take place over several rounds. At the beginning of the round, the first thing people are going to do is choose who to target. And then you are going to choose 3 actions to do during that round. Each player in the beginning of the game is going to start off with 3 generic actions and then 1 action that is specific to their character. So then players are going to choose what actions they want to do in what order. And this is your deck for the round, and then everyone is going to reveal their actions simultaneously. So in this case, Spinny Ginny is going to throw. That means you are going to throw some food at whoever you're targeting. She's going to throw a baby bean burrito. And Tricky Ricky shows his card, and he played a duck, which is one of the other cards. So this baby bean burrito goes right over his head. The last generic card you have is a grab, which is where you grab more food to bolster up your arsenal, and so you can keep fighting the good fight. When you use the grab action, you get to grab things from the floor. You can either grab one condition, topping, or new action, or you can grab 2 food cards. Whenever you take a card, it gets replenished automatically. If ever an event card comes up, it gets resolved right away, and then gameplay continues.
So that is what the food?
What the food?
What the actual food? You know, actually, this game is a lot like Cash and Guns. Weirdly.
It really is. If you don't really like Cash and Guns because of the theme, or you don't like pointing guns at each other, or maybe if you have kids, this is a really, really good family-friendly alternative to it.
And I just personally am like so tickled by the food combinations you can come up with. Like in this instance, I got pickled, not so cheesy mac and cheese that's oozing with marshmallow. Who doesn't want to throw that at their friends?
So that was What the Food.
Yeah, so do check us out on social media, guys. Right around there is the info. And until next time, we'll see you at the thrift store.
See you there.
All right, folks, at the very beginning, I mentioned that there's a lot of stuff going on. I mentioned how we're moving, essentially, here at the Dice Tower. So I want to talk to you guys because I've seen some almost wild speculation about where the Dice Tower is at this point in time. And I kind of want to put these things to rest. First of all, it was just a perfect storm of a couple weeks, right? There's some other things going on that just personal things. My mother passed away, and then we have to move the Dice Tower Studios. And then, of course, I should, as a side note here, mention some things with contributors happen because of just different things going on and financial things. We were going to kind of spin Chaz off on his own, and fortunately that was a mistake, especially on my part. Chaz will be with Dice Tower till the end of the year. It's what we promised you guys in our Indiegogo campaign. It will continue to happen, and he does a really great job, and we're really glad to have him with the Dice Tower. Rob Oren also is spun off onto his own channel, and he's still doing stuff on ours. You'll see him sometimes on Board Game Breakfast or Battling Brushes, and that's fantastic, and we wish him well with his own channel. And then there's our own channel, our own studio. And so what happened was we found a place to have our studio. We had a house, and one of the things that I always do is I'm very, very above board with what we're doing, exactly what we're doing. The landlord was on board. We have a fantastic landlord, and I checked with lawyers. You know, folks, I know that some people think that we fly by the seat of our pants here, but I really do put a lot of effort into these things. Everything was above board, but there was a miscommunication somewhere. The HOA, Homeowner Association, does not want us here. And even though we probably could fight it or whatever, who wants to live in that kind of situation? So we have found another place, a home that is nowhere near any other home, basically. The landlords there also are really excited about what we're doing. I showed them everything. Again, I'm always above board, and so we're going to be moving this week. Now, I'm not thrilled about moving, right? There's costs in moving. There's costs in, you know, some of the things that we put in here, and, you know, we're going to lose money on the deal. But the Dice Tower isn't falling apart, all right? And it kind of grieves me a little bit when I see people like, oh, what did they know what they're doing? Mistakes happen in business. And I don't feel like I need to put up spreadsheets online of everything that the Dice Tower does. Because it's the same reason I don't put up how many times we play a game, right? I've talked about that before, but I don't talk about every expense because people are like, did you take your family out for ice cream on my dime? Well, I wanted to eat ice cream. Well, no, you can't do that. I'm not donating. And so even though donation, and I try to be as open as I possibly can here on the Dice Tower. I try to explain everything that's going on, but we're not going to always give you every detail. But suffice this is I do budget for the year. I try to make everything stretch out the whole year, and I work on these things. Unexpected stuff happens. And you can say I was foolish and dumb. I put a lot of effort into where we are now. I'm put a lot of effort into where we're moving to. I'm excited about it. We're actually going to a better place than where we are now. It still sucks, right? We don't want to move. We don't want to have to do this. We're kind of bummed that, you know, we have another week here. There won't be a lot of content because we're going to have to put our efforts into moving. However, friends are helping. Some of our local game group is going to help us move. we have a truck that we're going to be able to use. And so it's not the end of the world, and I apologize that it kind of disrupts the schedule, but I want you guys to know that I am constantly trying to make this better. And I know my mom died last week, and so I wasn't there the whole time, and I apologize about that. But, you know, I don't apologize either, though, because that was important, and family's more important. My kids, my family are more important than this channel, but I will never not work hard here. So Dice Tower is still strong. We're going to still continue to put out lots of videos this year. Next week we're going to be going to the CMON Expo, and we'll have a lot of videos from that, hopefully. We have a lot of new great games that have shown up, and I'm really excited about where we're going. I would say this, though. If you are kind of curious about something with Dice Tower, why not email me? I don't understand why you would post an speculation thread, because that just foments rumors and things, and that's really not very good. That's one of the bad things about the internet. Don't get involved in that. However, many other people step up and say good things, and I appreciate that. We're not going to be perfect here. We're going to make mistakes. Me personally, I'm going to make a ton of mistakes as time goes by, and I apologize for that. But I hope that as time goes by, we can get better and better, and I hope you can see even now a huge difference between our videos in the past, and you will see even a bigger difference in the future. Thanks so much for watching. Let's continue on with Board Game Breakfast.
Mike Licio from Solomode Games. The board gaming hobby, although one we know and love, is in many ways a pretty niche hobby. And within that niche, there's a smaller subset of solo gamers. You know, I've had a lot of people ask me as I've gotten more interested in solitaire gaming, why do you solo? It seems like such an inherently social activity that they seem a little bit confused as to why I would want to play games by myself. The answer is there's a lot of reasons, but one of the primary reasons is that I know that if a game has a solitaire version, I'm going to be able to get it played. There's a little bit of anxiety that I know other people sometimes feel in having unplayed games in their collection. I've seen a number of people refer to their shelf of shame, games that they haven't had a chance to play yet. And so that got me thinking. I took a look at my collection earlier today to determine how many of the games that I own have a solitaire variant. And it turns out that just over 40% of the games in my collection either have an official solitaire mode or fully cooperative. And that's to speak nothing of the fan-made variants that are out there. So this is something that allows me to feel a little bit less anxiety, knowing that I'm going to have a chance to play my games. So what do you think? Do you play solo? If not, why not? And if you do solo, why? I'd love to hear. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Hello guys, it's Jan from Spielhammer.de. Welcome to 3 games I recently played. Here they are. So let's start this week with an awful game. It's Dungeons & Dragons, the board game / awful game. Really, don't try this. Don't try this game. You're really just wasting your time. It's absolutely boring, absolutely catastrophic missions, which just boring, just awful. There are thousands of other better games, like for example this one, this Tides of Time, a very cool, quick 2-player card game with very beautiful artwork. You should totally check this one out, especially if you like games like Love Letters or Seventh Heroes. Very easy rules, very quick to learn. It's a cool getaway game and a cool filler game also. The next game we look at is Mission Red Planet. In German it's Aufbruch zum roten Planeten. It's worker placement combined with area control, combined with a cool backstabber mechanism. You try to settle the Mars and try to get as many points as possible, of course, from the different areas. And it has also a planning phase, which can be totally turned around with some actions from other players, and it's just a real fun game, especially 4 to 5 players. So these are the games for this week. Check out the reviews on the Dice Tower and on Spielhammer, and I hope I see you next time. Till then, bye bye.
get into an RPG group? Hi, I'm Chris Renshaw from the Boards and Swords podcast, and welcome to Role Playing. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been talking about reasons why you should try an RPG. Well, now it comes to the logical conclusion of, how do I get in a group? So I'm going to talk about a few ways that you might be able to get into a group, but today I want to focus on the primary way that you can get into a group, and that's the same way that you may or may not have gotten into board gaming. Your friendly local game store. So chances are, if you're interested in D&D and Pathfinder, your friendly local store will have dedicated game nights to those games. There's some of the most popular RPGs out there. They'll usually have some sort of dedicated or even organized play where someone volunteers to be a GM and they know they're going to be GMing towards new people. And so they have what's called the Adventurers League for Dungeons and Dragons. Pathfinder has the Pathfinder Society. All sorts of different things that are designed all around getting people into playing games. But let's say you're not even interested in either one, Pathfinder or D&D. Going to the store, going to one of these game nights is a good way of just meeting the other people playing role-playing games in your area. So go chat with them, talk them up, find out what their favorite games are. Chances are you could probably find someone that shares a lot of the same interests or genres that you do. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments below if you've got a game store near you that's running RPG events and if they're of any interest to you. Until next time though, may all your hits be crits.
Hey there, my name is Niels, and today in the best and the worst we are talking about Unusual Suspects from Simon. Simon is the new name. Yeah, and let's jump right into it.
My favorite part on Unusual Suspects is definitely you have another party game alternative to Codenames. So it's another 20 minutes game. It's another time with large groups, 3 to 16 persons. And if you know the persons very well, you will have a lot of fun. However, the flip side is also the positive side. It's a really edgy game. What you are doing is you are making social and racial profiling based on these characters here. So you might see characters in here that you have in your mind and only in your mind, and when you discuss it with your colleagues, with your co-investors, some stuff. For an example, you flip over this card here. Do they go clubbing? Obviously, immediately you will figure out who is young and who is probably going into a club. So you will probably say, oh, he is not going into the club. She is not going into the club. She is definitely going into the club. She is definitely going into the club. She is a social butterfly who has a selfie stick. Another thing. So you immediately in your mind connect selfie sticks with young people. But it can go even more worse. Who is celebrating Christmas? And now you see this person, probably you will say, oh, she has a different ethical background. She is not celebrating Christmas. She is probably on the airplane because you assume this is a flight attendant. So this game is based on social and racial profiling. If you have any concerns about social and racial profiling in a fun way, I wanted to say it's a really, really fun game.
That was my favorite part of Unusual Suspect, and also the part I don't like. My name is Niels, Cyril's Brettspiele. Watch my channel and see you next week here on the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast. Bye, guys.
Hello, my name's Dan, and this is Cora. And we're here today to talk to you about board games for children of around 5 and under. Today,
that's my age.
That's her age. What, under 5?
5.
Oh, sorry. Today, we're going to talk about this game. What's it called, Cora?
Little Bird, Big Hunger.
Little Bird, Big Hunger. In Little Bird, Big Hunger, you play a mother bird trying to feed her chicks until they're big enough to leave the nest. However, much like with my own children, the chicks are very fussy eaters and will only accept certain types of food. Each turn a dice is rolled and the players check to see if the food on it matches with what their chick is currently demanding. If so, they take a little token from the centre of the board and cover the matching symbol on their developing chick. Once all the symbols on the chick tile are matched, the chick has a growth spurt and you turn it over and move on to the next largest tile. The first player to get their chick to full adulthood is the winner. So Cora, what do you think about Little Bird Big Hunger?
I like it.
Why do you like it?
Because of size.
Because your size?
Because them tiles have size and size order.
So you like putting the tiles out in size order?
Yeah.
Yeah? And you like it as well because you like eating worms and flies and seeds and things like that for your breakfast. So it reminds me of you a little bit. That's why I like it.
I eat seeds. Oh, there's seed bread.
You eat seed bread, it's true. So we give Little Bird Big Hunger 2 tweeting little flapping birds thumbs up.
Hello, Internet. Steve Tassi, curator at Snakes and Lattes. I'm here at our College Street location talking to game designer and development consultant Daryl Andrews. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Daryl, he is a designer of such games as the Walled City and Fantasy Baseball, as well as the new Fantasy Football.
That's right.
Do you have any other Fantasy games coming along?
Yeah, we have a third in this series. It's going to be hockey.
All right.
And we even have the NHL license for that.
And you are now recently a development consultant for IDW Games.
That's right. Yeah, just about 6 months now.
So licensed games is a direction that IDW is taking. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, a lot of people know IDW for their comics. So they're like the 4th biggest comic book company in the world, but they're #1 when it comes to licensed comics. So they do a lot of really well-known, like Turtles or X-Files comics, and so they thought they would leverage those relationships that they already have and make games in that world. So they're trying to do about 50-50 licensed games and then original games, original IPs, and so there's that balancing act of finding great designers to work in licenses, like you mentioned, Kevin and Rob. Rob has a great game coming up in Lock and Key, which is one of...
That's Rob Davio.
Rob Davio, yeah. So really excited about that. I'm in development with that game right now, doing a lot of playtesting. It's fantastic. So it's fun to kind of get to play in both worlds.
Now, you go to shows as well. That's part of the job.
Yes.
What shows are you going to be at this year?
Yeah, so I'll be at Geekway to the West in St. Louis. I'll be at Origins in Columbus. I'll be at Gen Con in Indianapolis, Dice Tower in Orlando, BGG Con in Dallas, and Essen in Germany.
All right, so if you are a designer and you're going to be at any of those shows, look for this man. If you're not going to be at any of these shows, people can still get in touch with you and pitch their ideas to you. So they can contact you how?
Yeah, I mean, the best way is probably just initially through Twitter or Facebook. You can find me, or you can email me or email IDW, and they're going to point you to me.
Yeah. So we're putting his contact information up on the screen. You are Daryl Mandrews on Twitter.
That's right.
And yeah, so if you've got something that you think IDW might be interested in, get in touch with Daryl. Even if it's not the right game for IDW, you can, suggest other companies that might be interested.
I mean,
as well.
even just giving feedback. It's great just getting to play people's games, and you're trying to get it in front of other people to improve your game anyway. So it's always healthy to try to pitch your games and learn from those experiences.
All right, well, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
And Autobots, roll out.
Roll out.
And that's it for another board game breakfast. I don't know what's going to happen this week. There's just, okay. But again, I really thank you guys for sticking with us through the difficult times, and hopefully the Dice Tower will emerge from this stronger and better than ever. This week we also had a chance, Derek and I had a chance to go to the National Association of Broadcasters, NAB conference, and we were able to see a lot of new equipment and things, and we have ideas for changes and things that you'll see in the future. I'm really excited about some of the stuff that we'll be doing. Of course, most of our changes will be implemented slowly, but still a lot of fun things as time goes by, hopefully. Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.